tweet and quote brought me $250. That's it. It's trackable. I know right where it came from, and that was it. So just because a celebrity says something nice about you once, just because a news article says something nice about you once, it's not a guaranteed windfall. It's going to have to be repeated. A little bit of advice that's not on here as well is I see a lot of people asking famous people to tweet for them and asking famous authors to share their content, or would you look at my campaign? Know that you are one in thousands of people asking that question, and if you do not have a direct one-on-one or secondary or even tertiary reason to ask that person, you are more effective asking one of the people that are following you or commenting to you than asking a celebrity that may or may not see your tweet.
Begs the question, how did you get connected with Neil Gaiman then?
Somebody that is a fan of his, that's in his core 1,000 group of really hardcore fans, tweeted it and he saw it. Didn't come from me, came from somebody else. I saw them tweet it and I went, wow, thank you very much. And then next thing I know, Neil Gaiman's tweeting. And if you really want to bag a celebrity, if you really, really, really think Stephen King's going to help promote your stuff, do some homework and figure out what hours he's actually active online. If, for example, Neil Gaiman is a late night guy, or I'm a huge fan of Kevin Smith, so Kevin Smith's a late night guy. After 10 p.m. to 1 a.m., really good time to catch him, really good engaging, and as long as you're not kind of schmarmy about it, you might get a retweet or a response or, hey, that's cool. But it's going to take a lot of time to figure it out, and you don't have a lot of time, because it's 30 days sounds like a big bulk of time until you're breaking it down into how many hours you have for your personal life and your campaign, which is not a lot.
So Kickstarter and Indiegogo are for-profit companies that are
Correct.
Taking a cut of the donations.
Correct.
Are there any models for crowdfunding that are outside of relying on these kinds of private companies for supporting or managing your campaign?
Cash.
Cash?
If you're worried about people taking fees, do cash. If you do PayPal, you could set up these are not exclusive platforms. These are just two refined companies that have figured out a way to make the machine work. You can replicate Kickstarter and Indiegogo on a number of different platforms, even creating it yourself through PayPal, or Square, any of those. The model is, the machine is the machine, but anytime you're doing a credit card or digital cash transaction, you're going to get a fee. So the only way to eliminate the fee or to not go with the machine is just to go to an event and ask for cash.
I hear about college students who are, putting themselves online, and if you can, what keeps you from putting up a button on your website that basically says, I'm working on a book, I'm looking for, support from the public.
Absolutely nothing.
Donate.
That they have.
Give you you give me $40, I give you 25.
So there's tons of sites like that. There's Smashwords where you could sell chapters or your whole book at the time. There's sites like Patreon where if you're an artist, you could sell every time you write a chapter or you make a new song or write a new book. People say, I'm in Patreon, I'm willing to give Isolde $5 for every new chapter of her book that she puts out. And Isolde only receives that $5 when she releases a new chapter. So then by the time her book is done, I've probably paid 5 times the value of the book. But that's my choice. But then you also have to deal with 3 things. 1, longevity of time. The benefit of crowdfunding campaigns like Kickstarter and Indiegogo is there's a finite time. So if you know in 6 months I need $5,000 to get my book edited and off to a first run, you're not going to be able to guarantee that you're going to do that in an open platform window. The other side of the coin is that it's kind of like the Wild Wild West that way. You don't know when money's coming in, you don't know what the best platform is, you're hoping and waiting for the kindness of strangers, whereas these crowdfunding platforms, you're being a little bit more aggressive and you know what your window of opportunity is.
I would think that with the benefit of a Kickstarter or Indiegogo platform compared to just doing it on your own website is the trust that people have in those 2 platforms that the money will not, that if it, in the all or nothing thing, if you didn't do it, then they get their money back, whereas if they're buying it through your website, then you might just take the money and run.
Yeah, if you're doing it through your website, it's exactly the same model as Keep It All. But there's no kind of guarantee of when rewards will be fulfilled or if you're going to do anything. The other leverage that Kickstarter and Indiegogo have is that you're in their community. So if somebody's looking for, they have 4 criteria. They have most funded, which is a really great resource tool. They have last week or last hours, which is the campaigns are in their final countdown. You can see how far they are, what they're doing. They have new this week, and then they have like trending. And what trending means is you can hack the system. Like if you get 1,500 social media likes and 30% of your goal in the first week, you're instantly starting toward what Indiegogo calls their go-go factor, which means you become part of their email blast, you become part of their other things that they do beyond just what your campaign supporter helps. And the same thing for Kickstarter. Kickstarter's a little cagey about what their factor is when that machine gets behind you. But you're also on if I'm searching for zombie, because I keep saying zombie, I'm a zombie fan and I'm waiting to see the last episode of The Walking Dead when I go home. I can see the things that have to do with zombie in their feed, whereas if I go to your site, I'm only getting your content. I'm only finding what you have. Does that help? Sure. Okay. Any other questions?
Well, coming back to the 30, 60, 75 days,
Yep.
whatever, that's from your personal experience so you're giving practical experience.
I'm giving practical experience. I'm giving the same knowledge that John Trigonis from Indiegogo himself would offer. I'm not telling you anything that I haven't experienced firsthand, being on a team, running a campaign myself, or contributing to a campaign, or getting information from somebody that works for one of the companies themselves. 30 to 40 days is about a safe window for you. 60 days is, there's the adage of more days equals more money, but how hard are you willing to work for that money? Like you have to take mental, emotional, and physical fatigue into account, because if you get burnt out on your own campaign and by the last week when it's the most important for you to be at your best, you're like, I'm just done. You have the chance to fail.
So it's the contributor boredom too, if it's like 60 days or 90 days.
If you're working with somebody like me, or you're a good marketer and you can figure out a strategy, you gotta keep those 60 days alive and fresh, both in your mind and your community and your team, do it. If you can't and you're just trying to ride the roller coaster, 30 to 40 days. Any other questions?
I have
Yes.
one that's a little off topic. Have you ever had any experience with Noise Trade?
Noise trade?
Mhm.
What is that?
It's a company started, I guess, with musicians, where you put up your content free in exchange for someone's email address, and they expect to receive email communication from you. So it's here's a CD or here's a book, but there's also the ability for them to pay for the content. So I've heard of musicians that put their stuff up there, people join their email list, get the music, and then really like it and make a lot of money from it.
Yeah, I mean, there's honestly, I focused on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. My computer's about to die somewhere.
I know it's not really crowdfunding exactly
No,
the
it's
same way,
absolutely
but
crowdfunding. Like, please don't think crowdfunding is just strictly refined or reserved to just those two time-based platforms. Crowdfunding is legitimately anything you're doing that involves time, money, and a crowd. Even if you're standing on the street, put a hat in front of your feet, and you're selling your book that way, you've just crowdfunded your resources. If you're doing a campaign, like on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, you're crowdfunding. If you're putting a button on your website and taking money that way, it's anything that involves crowd. These two particular platforms are particularly time and funding sensitive based platforms. So again, that's why I started with the Statue of Liberty. That light years before the internet, and had a time window of people contributing money and still was able to reach its goal. So yes,
Have you
ma'am?
written a book on this?
It's funny, you should mention that. I am actually working on
Wow,
a
how
book.
much do you owe her for that?
Yeah.
A lot.
Did he remember you to say that?
So I want to thank you so much. Here's your reward. For you like coffee. No, I'm kidding.
It's time to take a pill, I'll take a coffee.
All right, here you go. Yes, I'm working on a book. It is called Your Crowdfunding Sucks. It is 100 tips to a successful campaign, and it's broken into the three sections that I talked about today, which is the pre-campaign, your campaign, and your post-campaign. I have no idea when it's going to be released because I'm still working on it. I'm in the outline phase. But it's going to run parallel with the podcast, and the podcast is going to kind of be, what the podcast is really about is interviewing people with successful campaigns, interviewing marketers. I've got Trigonis coming on from Indiegogo to talk about the platform side itself, and then there's going to be peppered in there tips and tricks that you're going to see in the book. And a lot of the book outline is exactly what we saw today, with a little bit more attitude in it and a little bit more flowery language.
So on your website for.
yourcrowdfundingsucks.com.
Yeah, .com. Do you have the information like what you gave us today? I mean, I couldn't write all these notes down as you were talking. I don't know if you offer copies of your slideshow.
I will give you copies of the slide. I know Isolde's been kind to do a video recording.
Yeah.
I've been doing an audio recording of the entire thing. If you guys want to write my email address down, I'll give you my personal and direct email.
Okay.
It is M as in Michael, C as in Charlie, Dougherty, DOUGHERTY @gmail.com. That's my personal and direct email because there's this many of you in the room, and hopefully that will stay on the video so everybody watching it will email me personally because I forgot that that is on there.
I can edit that out.
You can edit that out. Or you can email me at yourcrowdfundingsucks@gmail.com.
What was your website again?
yourcrowdfundingsucks.com.
This was great information.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.